we started making every single person lead a lap or lead a rep. And I think we kind of just got rid of like all the little side chats. We got rid of those, all the arguments. We would get rid of those. So
Yeah,
we kind of just
starts
started.
in the mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we didn't get rid of everything completely. Like, there's definitely stuff we could have worked on, but I think that we kind of all just like locked in and like realized that we don't want to get second again.
Hi, I'm Nate, and this is Under the Radar, where we reveal off camera observations of authentic athletes. Today, we'll look at the story of current Hamilton senior and Colorado State commit, Zarian Rodriguez. We'll talk a lot about the camaraderie on Hamilton, which is his high school cross country team. Then we'll dive into the experiences he had at two premier X cross country meets, Arcadia and Woodbridge. Then we'll dive into experience running at Brooks and the additional camaraderie he's had in the national running community. We'll also look at how he changed his team's dynamic from getting second at state in 2023 to winning it in 2024, as well as his goals to inspire the national track community. Enjoy. Your tattoos are flippin' sick. Uh,
Oh, appreciate you.
would you would you get them, and why did you pick the design? If you had like a spider or something, like what's the inspiration behind that?
So they're both from anime shows. I'm pretty big on anime. Uh,
Huge anime fan.
but
There you go.
yeah, so the one on my arm, on my forearm is it spells out love, but that's not the reason I got it. It's like the character who has the tattoo is like his character represents like growth. So he went from like being a kid who like hated everything, not enjoying anything, to like being an inspiration to everyone and just kind of like that. So I feel like I relate to that a lot.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and then the one on my shoulder is from a show called Hunter x Hunter. I just think it's cool. But the each number like represents something different, and my number is the two. So that one kind of represents like taking like the pain you dealt with, and instead of like letting it bring you down, you use it and like it's a strength. So that's kind of how I always look at things. Like whenever like I deal with hardships or anything like that, instead of letting them bring you down, I kind of just, use that into strength for running and stuff.
we'll get into a lot of that. So it's just gonna be good. Um, yeah. So how do you want to use like how do you inspire your community around you, the running community?
I think just showing like anything's really possible if you actually put your mind to it. Like, I don't look like a runner. No one expects me like, and no one expected me to, be, a pretty fast runner, and I didn't expect myself to either, but I kind of just put my mind to it, and I'm in this spot now. So I think it's just like showing other people that, yeah, if you really put your mind to it, it'll all work out.
How does your team really support you, and what do they specifically do to help you mentally prep for those big things?
Yeah, I think one of the ways is they always kind of just like give me little prep talks. So my teammate, for example, Adam Slater, before every single race, he's kind of like our hype man. Like, he gives everyone prep talks. He'll pull you to the side and speak to you. Like state junior year, I was so nervous before the race because I wasn't expected to win. Everyone had me coming in second place, so I was just super nervous. I wasn't ready to run. He pulled me over to the side, had like a little 2-minute prep talk with me, and it just got me going. And I went out there, did my thing, and I won. But yeah, so like people like him, like just there's him, there's my other teammates, Jude, Benaya. They're all you could be like a mile away from me, and if I run past them, you can hear them screaming. Like my team
Yeah,
gets so loud when anyone
that's
races, like a little too loud sometimes. Like they get crazy when you're racing, and not even just for me, for
something you can be
everyone.
too loud. Yeah,
Yeah, like we'll
yeah,
be we'll be watching the JV race, and we'll have guys, swinging their shirts in
yeah.
the air, throwing water bottles everywhere, like just going crazy.
That's how it should be, man. That's how it should be. Where do you
Yeah,
think
no,
that
it's
comes
great.
from? Like, what is that? Does I mean, I don't. Is that? Maybe it's super common in Arizona. Maybe it's not. Especially the water bottles, like from Ghana. But like, what do you think that closeness really comes from, and how has it really developed since you joined the team, if it has at all?
I think just I feel like we make sure, like like we always go to dinners together before races. We all hang out outside of school. Like, these are my best friends. So like we're not only just, teammates when we're not just teammates, but we're also like all really good friends. Like, we hang out a lot. But I think it all started with like we would host like a just a pool party at a friend's house, like at a teammate's house, or we would host like a little movie night. And I think that's kind of what would get rid of the awkwardness and kind of just bring everyone together. So like we still make sure to do that. Like our freshmen, you know how freshmen are. They come in, they're scared. It'll be like a 14-year-old freshman running with a 18-year-old senior. And obviously they're not going to go up to the senior and have a full-on convo. So we kind of make sure that they feel welcomed, and we do all these activities, these icebreakers to just get everyone close together.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, cross country is already a tough sport, and to have the people close to you, I think makes it a lot more feasible. And then also it's like something that you were saying about too that I liked, where it's like there's action involved and it wasn't just saying stuff and not following through on it. That can happen, which is
Yeah,
super cool. I think from what I've noticed, just like you don't let stuff get to you, it feels like.
yeah.
So how have you trained your mental side to reach that point, to grow that mental muscle? And like, what would you tell someone that feels the pressure and lets it get to them? What advice do you give them?
I think just you gotta think about the future. You know what I mean? I feel like people, and I used to do this all the time, like I would be scared or I would be like sad and I would only think about that moment, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
okay, 10 years down the road, I'm not going to be worried about this, you know what I mean? So why would I let it beat me up right now when in 10 years I could be living my life and not be worried about this at all? But I feel like the way I kind of gained it was I mean, to be honest, like I used to be like a crybaby. Like if I'm gonna be honest, like a coach would yell at me for like messing up. I'm crying in the bathroom. Like I get into an argument with someone, I'm crying, and that's just how I used to be. But I mean, I think that I've had a lot of very hard coaches who've like forced me to be a leader and forced me to like toughen up. Like they made me toughen up. I didn't have a choice, and I think that's kind of just where it got me. Like that's kind of how I got it. Like it just built me strong, and that's kind of how I am today now.
Is there a specific coach that's really pushed you in that department?
Yeah, his name's Noah, Coach Noah. I played basketball for him a couple years ago. I quit a minute ago, but I played basketball for with his team for like 3 years. And when I first met him, I was kind of just this kid who just didn't understand anything. I was always crying, like I just said. I was very emotional, but he kind of just he made me understand like as a leader, you can't let people see that from you because they're gonna follow what you do. So I had to
Mm,
learn like, okay, if he yells at me and I just rage out right now and I get mad, everyone else is gonna think that's acceptable. So I'm gonna have to hold it
exactly.
in. So I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
hold it in and be a good example. And I think just doing that kind of just it just helped me out a ton, you know what I mean? And yeah,
I think it's so important to just because everyone that I know that's on that level of comp, everyone sees what they do, like state champions, national champions. Everyone looks at them and sees how they act and sees beyond the time and really just dives into like how they treat people and how they handle their emotions. And I think what you said about that is so true with like
yeah,
imitators, and because like I'm sure you would do that too with like professional runners. Like if yeah. Um so sophomore year, I believe you guys were second as a team at state. You're runner up.
yeah,
How did you guys feel about that? Were you satisfied about that, or would you want more as a team?
definitely not. We were very upset that whole day. Because I mean, we weren't expected to win state by everyone, but we definitely had. And I think some people kind of just didn't give it their all. Um, we had a lot of people just kind of, and I think that was the biggest factor which caused us to get second place. I think that's probably the best thing that's ever happened to us because I feel like after, after seeing, the win was right there and we just gave it up, I think it kind of just changed the way that we started doing everything. Like kind of just changed our mentality completely.
Oh, so how did you apply that next season? What did you do differently as a team?
We kind of looked at it, like we looked back at it and we were like, okay, like so for example. I didn't kick as hard, you know what I mean? Like I think I could have hawked down a couple people,
And
but in
controllables, yeah.
yeah, so in my head, instead of kicking, I was like, okay, I don't need to kick because I have my teammates. But then everyone else thought the same thing, you know what I mean? So everyone expected everyone else to do their job, but everyone else didn't do their own job, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
bystander effect. I know it. I'm
So
totally
so
familiar with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, if I
Yeah.
explain that good enough, yeah. So like I mean I placed high. I placed sixth, I think.
Yeah.
But instead of, trying to get those extra two spots up, I kind of just told myself, I was like, all right, my boys will do their job. I can just rest for now. Like I'm
Right.
done.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
then, they all said the
When it's the
same thing.
opposite, they're doing their
Yeah.
job, so you better do your job, right?
Yeah. So that definitely
Yeah.
changed for us. Yeah, that definitely changed for us the next year.
Did you guys have to change anything like in practice, or was it just mainly race strategy and just mentality?
I think everything, yeah, like especially in practice too. I think we started, like going more hard and because the entire year we all trained together. So we would be doing a workout with like we had 8 guys on varsity when only 7 people can run. Like we were such a deep team. So I mean we had 8 guys running a workout together and we would always have like one guy lead. And so instead of doing that,
Mhm.
we would, we started making every single person lead a lap or lead a rep. And I think we kind of just got rid of like all the little side chats. We got rid of those, all the arguments. We would get rid of those. So
Yeah.
we kind of just started,
Starts in the mind. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, we didn't get rid of everything completely. Like there's definitely stuff we could have worked on, but I think that we kind of all just like locked in and like, realized that we don't want to get second again.
That's incredible. So how did the state go then this junior year?
So yeah, last year junior year state was it went according to plan, definitely.
Yep.
We weren't just going to win state. That's not what our goal was. Our goal was set the lowest point scored, which we did that. So we got the lowest point scored in Division 1 state history, the fastest team time in Arizona state history, which we got that too, and then obviously winning state. So I think
Yep.
that just in that small year, um, that small amount of time, our goal went from, winning state to setting state records, you know what I mean? So we went out there, we got everyone on the podium. Um, we, I think everyone had a extremely good race out there, and state just went amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. The coolest part about that is like not only did you win state and achieve things time wise, but you guys, it looks like you have developed so much in character too. Like all the way down to controlling the controls, like how you
yeah,
work together,
definitely.
how you act together, how you respond to emotions to, or how you how you respond with your emotions together. I think that's super cool, and I think you guys will take that a lot longer than just running. And that's just so
Yeah,
applicable. So just being the favorite, throughout the year, because you had won state now, and going into state as a senior, you're now, you're not sixth anymore, you're first. So how did you handle that throughout the season, and how did your team support you with that?
I kind of told myself like, don't really worry about what other people say. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if I cared too much of like everyone says, and say I have a bad race, you know what I mean? Like everyone's like, oh, Zarian's here. I can't wait to watch him perform. But then say I don't go out there, say I go out there and I don't perform, I feel like it would just cause more stuff on me. You know what I mean? Like it would kind of just make
Yeah,
me more like, damn, I let everyone down. I hate myself for this. Like I wish I didn't race today. Instead of like I kind of just like I still worry about what people say sometimes, but I think that I don't let that be like the biggest concern. But I definitely go out there and I know there's people who want to watch me do what I do. So I always go out there and make sure I perform for everyone. So
absolutely. So how did senior year go for you cross country, both individually and as a team?
individually I'd say it was a pretty good year. I think that I definitely could have done better, but I'm pretty happy with it. The main goal was to win state and go to nationals, and I did both of those. But I had a really good race at Woodbridge, really good race at Twilight. State I won. And then the biggest goal this year was to go to NXN, which I didn't achieve that. I was that race, that was the one race where I kind of just gassed out. But then I went to Brooks, and I think that was like probably the best time of my life I ever had. So Senior year
Yeah.
was pretty fun individually. As a team, I think it was a pretty good season because we went from, being, the greatest team Arizona's ever seen to trying to get a trophy at state. So I think our goals definitely changed a lot, and it was a lot harder as a team because we didn't have so much depth, which means that the guys who returned from the state team had a lot more, to put on their plate. But I'm definitely happy with how the season went. We didn't win state, but I think that just as a team, we did very good this year.
Yeah. It's kind of cool how you say that because a lot of times people learners will attach their identity to their results, and it seems like you're just saying, okay, I did what I could do. I controlled all my controllables, and I'm still happy with how I did, despite not doing as well as I could have as a team.
Yeah.
So you didn't qualify for NXN. So take me through when you found out you didn't qualify, how you were feeling and how you kind of brought yourself back up to eventually run Brooks and do something fun over there, Brooks Regionals.
Yeah. So I've been, like as soon as track season ended last year, my main focus was to go to NXN. So I've kind of just been on that for over a year now. And I knew I wasn't going to NXN about 1,000 meters left because I kind of just I don't want to say I gave up, but that's what happened. Like I gave up. I don't want to say it, but I know I did, so I'm gonna say that. I kind of just it hurt a lot and I couldn't handle it at the time. So I kind of just gave up in the race and with like 1,800 meters to go, I knew I wasn't gonna go to NXN because of like how much I just let the race go. So after the race, instead of like I beat myself up a little bit for it for a couple hours, like I was upset about like really I was really upset about it. But I think that I kind of just changed my focus from being mad about not going to NXN to getting ready for Brooks Regionals. So I kind of just
Right.
changed the focus right away so that nothing gets to me. And then yeah, that's kind of how it all played out.
Cool. How'd the race go?
Brooks Regionals was very
Regionals.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually going really good. I messed my race plan up. So I thought that I didn't realize there was two hills left and I thought we were on the last hill. So I start kicking and then I realized that there's another hill. So from there on, it was kind of just hanging on, which I got third place. So you know what I mean? Like I'm happy with it. But I definitely think that if I thought it out more and paid attention to the course more, I would have won. But the
Yeah.
main goal is to go to nationals. So I got that done.
Right. So, okay, so there's two things I'm really curious about from an athlete perspective I really wanted to talk about today, and it's these the two meets that I just think are so notorious in the running community, Woodbridge and Arcadia. So, Woodbridge, how did you find out you were going to Woodbridge, and what was your reaction to that? Being in the sweepstakes race.
Yeah, so I went last year, and if I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest, I didn't even know what like Woodbridge was. Like I didn't know it was the meet where all the fastest kids in the country come. So I kind of just went out there like thinking it was a normal race, and I think I placed like 19th or something like that. Like it wasn't nothing impressive, but this year my coach told me like we're going back to Woodbridge, and you definitely need to run a lot harder than you did last year. And so I think I was really just psyched for Woodbridge this year. That's probably like the race I was most excited for throughout the main season, other than like state and nationals. But yeah, so I'd say I was really like psyched for it. Like I think like all my nervousness went away on the line. Like sometimes I get nervous a lot on the line. I feel like Woodbridge, I was more like, I'm just excited just seeing how big the race was.
So, yeah, what was just the environment like? You're at 9:54 at night and it's flipping hot out there. Like, what was just a vibe like, being in that environment? I'm sure there are lots of
Yeah.
towels and water bottles and stuff.
Yeah, it was I feel like just like I remember there was one part where I was doing strides on the course and I kind of just looked to my left and I just see like all these cameras pointed out, all these flashlights, just my whole team standing over there. And I kind of just took it all in. I was like, like dang, like I'm really running like in front of this much people right now. Like this is crazy. And yeah, I mean the environment was it was insane. Like it was really just like I feel like that's how cross country actually feels. Like late at night, all the lights above you, a golf course, soccer fields, all that. Um, all the people watching. And yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Yeah. And how'd you feel about it the first time when you ran it? I think you kind of went over this a little bit, but like, what was your mental shift between running it in your junior year and then running it your senior year?
I think junior year, it was really just like I think I was more focused on the team. So when I went to Woodbridge, I was like, all right, guys, let's try to win as a team. But then I feel like this year I went out there and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to, place top five as an individual. And so yeah, I feel like, I wouldn't say I'm not trying to say like I forgot about the team, but I feel like I definitely focused more like on myself this year and trying to like, have a breakout senior year.
How Woodbridge go this year, or last year, whatever it is?
This year it was
This
a
year's
pretty
senior
good
year, yeah.
race. I think that I'd say the funnest part was kind of just being with the team, like, but I'd say the race itself was I think it was really I don't know how to explain like I kind of like the race a lot more this year because I feel like I just kind of threw myself to the very front and I was like, all right, let's see what happens. As of last year, I kind of just stayed in the back and like the back of the first pack. But I mean, this year, if you go watch the video, you'll see me like, leading the race at some points. And so I was like, all right, I know I can definitely keep up with these guys. So I'm gonna go out there and just, see what happens. I'm gonna go out there and just bring my heart out instead of kind of like being scared and just staying in the back and then kicking the last 300 meters. So yeah, this year was definitely different from just I feel like my mentality was completely different this year than it was last year.
Awesome. Who is someone that you met at Woodbridge this year? Or it's the years get mixed up all the time. I don't know. I know what I'm gonna say. Who is
Yeah.
someone that you met like your senior year of Woodbridge that's just been cool to have? Or junior year. That's been just awesome just to have, in your circle.
Um, I met so his I met one guy. His name I met him at Woodbridge. His name was Carter Prater. I believe I'm saying that right. I think he's from Nevada, but we've kind of been in touch a little bit, like we've messaged back and forth from time to time, but he's committed to Colorado and I'm going to Colorado State. He's going to CU Boulder. So I think that's cool that like that, we met at Woodbridge and now we're gonna go to Colorado and so we'll still be racing there. But yeah, and then obviously I met Jackson Spencer there. Like he's a beast, obviously. I didn't know who he was until the race. Well, until after the race. That's who I found out who he was. So I mean, yeah, I met him there and then just yeah, I kind of just stayed at my tent the entire time. But other than those two kids, yeah.
Awesome. So then Arcadia. How'd you find out about Arcadia?
Arcadia,
Going to Arcadia, yeah.
I didn't really know what it was. And then my coach told me like, hey, like Arcadia is like the biggest high school meet in track and field. Like we're gonna be going there. And I kind of thought he was bluffing. I don't know why. I thought he was saying that just like turn me up a little bit. And
Yeah,
then
right.
we pull up and I see like 40 photographers and like my face is on the big screen and all this. And
You
I
go through
got
the arch and
people,
whatnot.
yeah, and like the section where all the athletes are like from the bleachers watching. And I'm getting like messages from my family like, "Hey, we're watching on TV right now." So yeah, it was definitely it was a big surprise when I pulled up.
So you found out right when you're that's kind of awesome. So when
Yeah.
you're going to like that meet, is there like there's like a first time charm to it where it's like I'm not so nervous because it's my first time going and I'm just gonna just leave it up to God and just run it? Or are you coming into it like, oh shoot, like this is my first time. I really need to prove myself and run the best I can because it's such a cool opportunity.
Yeah, I think I kind of yeah, when we were on the way and my coach showed me like previous videos of like the 2 mile and how it's like the home of breaking nine. And I think I don't think it like made me nervous. Like on the way there, I was very more like I was like turned up. You know what I mean? Like I was very excited to race there. And I kind of just told myself like I don't even care if I win. I just want to break nine. and that was like the goal. But I got both of those done. So I mean,
Both of them, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was. I wasn't really nervous. I was more just it's kind of just to myself and just really hyped up for the race.
Yeah. So you ran, I believe it was 23 other people because it was 24 per. So how do you like navigate this traffic or how just yeah, how do you navigate the first few steps and not getting run over by kids?
Okay, yeah. So I feel like being at my height and being at my weight, I definitely have to be more aggressive. So I had to push around a little bit. Had to like I had to definitely fight for my spot. You know what I mean? Because I mean, half the kids are running there, don't even see me. Like they just look completely over me. So I definitely had to like just fight my way and treat it as if I was playing football and kind of just go through people.
How'd the rest of the race go?
It was very, I feel like the race was so complicated. So my race plan was to stay in top five the entire race, and we would finish up a lap, and I would get up in like third, second place. And then by the time we're like about to finish the lap up, I'm back in like seventh place. So that
Wow.
race was definitely like I would get up in my placement and then I'd fall back, get up and fall back. And I don't think it's because I was slowing down. I think it's because I was just getting like beat up so much in the race that like I was just getting thrown to the back. And that's why like in the video, I started to kick with like 420 meters to go. So in the video, you can see there was like 50 meters of the seventh lap, and that's when I took the lead. And then I kind of just disconnected from everyone, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna get beat up anymore. I'm not gonna worry about that. Now it's just gonna be a kick and hope I don't get hawked down and embarrassed in front of, thousands of people.
And then you won it. It's the first sub nine of the night, and there were lots of sub nines of the night. So
Yeah,
super
yeah, that
cool.
was definitely fun.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you stay to watch some of the other races or yeah.
Yeah, so I had friends in the other heats of the 32, so I stayed there and watched them. And then we had some guys in the 4x1600, a 4 mile.
Earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, so those races were definitely fun. I think just like the environment, like you can freak out without looking weird, you know what I mean? Because everyone else is doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Like like at Arizona, like my teammate Benaya, that's like the biggest hype man in the world. Like whenever he like shouts and screams at you when you're racing, everyone will like look at him like, yo, this kid's crazy. But like you can do that at Arcadia and like people will think
The
they're doing the
people
same
around you do the
thing.
same
You
thing.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really fun place to be. And just that was like the one meet where I actually enjoyed watching the races.
Yeah. What was it like? Just like, because I mean, you're running and you're hearing. Are you taking in any of the crowd noise at all? Because I mean, it's all concentrated on a track versus it being strung out on a course. Is that something that just you just kind of like, wow, there's like thousands of people who are yelling at me and I'm running. It's like, how did it feel even when you're finishing?
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't remember anything that was said to me. Like I definitely know that my coach was yelling at me and my teammates were yelling at me because I remember I don't know who it was, but one of my teammates asked me like, "Yo, did you hear when I said this?" And I was like, "Nah, I forgot there's a crowd at first." Like I was so zoned in.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like the last 200 meters of the race, I was like thinking like, okay, if I get hot now, it's gonna be all over TV. Everyone's gonna see it. I don't want that to happen. But yeah, I kind of just blocked out all the noise. I blocked out everything and just, did my own race and it all worked out.
What did you take away from that experience that you kind of yeah? When would you learn?
Don't let like opportunity go to waste. You know what I mean? Because being here in Arizona, we don't get to race in like the weather like that, like cool, nice weather. And then we don't get like a big environment like that unless it's Chandler Rotary. But I feel like just like when you have those conditions and that much people watching and the weather's that nice, you can't like really let that go to waste. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And who is someone that you met at Arcadia and that you that either inspired you or just someone you can call a friend
Wait,
today?
Caden Evans, if you know him, he won NXR Southwest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he won NXR. I remember I texted him for like some advice one time, and then he came up to me at Arcadia and like congratulated me. And he was just really cool because he's given me a bunch of tips before and everything like that, and all this kind of advice.
Brooks, we were gonna save that for now, but this is the big one. So Brooks, obviously you made nationals. So coming into nationals, like what was your mindset? Was it again, was it kind of the Arcadia mindset of, oh, this is so cool, let's just have a good time, or was there more of an expectation for yourself?
Yeah, I think in nationals this year, I kind of went out there to just go have fun. Like I didn't really go out there because the way I looked at it was like I didn't want to go out there with like such a hard expectation on myself. Like, telling myself I need to go out and win or tell myself I need to go run this time and then not doing it and then being upset with how my senior year ended. So I kind of went out there and I was like, as long as I run my hardest, I'll be happy. Instead of kind of focusing like on who I beat, what placement I get, all that. I kind of just told myself like, go out there, run my hardest, and I think I'll be happy with how my year ended.
Awesome. I think what stands most to me about Brooks is that it's organized in a way that really prioritizes fun as a compliment, as something that goes above like she winning. Like, how do you think
Yeah.
the meet was organized, and how was it done in a way that really shows that?
It was kind of just such a fun place to be. Like the environment was great. Like I think they set it up like perfect, like with just, picking one of the best courses to run at, like one of the most cross country like courses. And then um like I feel like the way that they showcased each person individually, like when they called us out, we got our little intros, and then, with all the media, like everybody, getting posted, all these photos. So I feel like they really organized it to just, be like a fun experience instead of like such a serious, like, race where everyone's going at each other's heads, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, it
but
was,
even,
sorry, he brought.
oh, and then even like before the race, like when we were just chilling at like the hotel, like they had all these like rooms where you can just connect with other people. So I definitely met like, I wasn't just with like, my roommate or just the West team, but, I was hanging out with, guys and girls from, all over the country. You know what I mean?
That's super cool. What would you say, building off that, your favorite memory was that wasn't running at that meet?
Um, Probably okay, I'd say there's two. So the first one was I don't know if you know the game called Imposter. It's
Oh
it's
my
kind of popular.
gosh.
Dude, okay, so we had like a huge game of
Suck it.
Imposter with like 20 people. And it was like
Are you
just
serious? That's
it was like
insane.
yeah, it was super fun though because like obviously it never worked out, but it was just super fun. So I'd say that or after we had the dinner, our entire West team, the West guys team went into the grass field and we started like a little like a little cha-cha train, whatever it's called. And then one of our guys went up to the DJ, told him put a song on where it has a dance to it that everyone knows. And then for like an hour straight, we just got like a bunch of people into like this big dance group. And it was just super fun. Like we were just connecting with everyone and just had this huge dance group. And it was like our guys and girls from the West team, and then everyone else from like the South, North, everyone just started pulling up, and it was kind of just super fun.
That's man, I'd be getting FOMO right now. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a crazy side quest. That's just like
yeah, no, it was
that's
super
just
fun.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
awesome. What is who are some of the people that you met there that you really like you keep in touch to this day?
Um, my entire West team. So we have a group chat, um, and they still text to it this day. Like if someone runs like a good race, they send a message and they're like, "Hey, good job on this." So like the entire like West team is in a group chat together, and it's like we're all kind of just still like we don't text it like constantly, but like whenever something big happens, we'll hit it up, and I think it's cool because like when I see these guys at Arcadia or Chandler Rotary, I'm not gonna like I'm gonna know who they are. Like I'm gonna I'm friends with them now instead of just being like knowing them from running. Like I'm actually like pretty close friends with them now. So I think that's definitely cool. Yeah.
It's funny. I believe I just heard that on the episode I did earlier. Y'all runners have these group chats just to encourage each other, and it's just the coolest thing ever across
Yeah,
all the entire country. Like they have one at the Nike, yeah, you have one at Nike Elite. They have one, at West. It's just insane how you guys
yeah,
actually, even though you're running against each other, technically, it's like something you just don't see in other sports. And it's just incredible.
yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely different. Like I feel like running rivalries are definitely different than like other sports. Like when I used to play basketball, like if we played a team that we didn't like, then that was like a team that we just hated every single time. But I feel like running is more like instead of like disliking the person, you're kind of just both out there to like push each other and just see who's gonna get pushed harder.
Yeah, it's
And
incredible.
then yeah, and then after the race, you're just talking about it and instead of like, like you don't really see people talk smack when it comes to running, you know what I mean? Like it's all kind of just like love from everyone.
Yeah. What do you think is the coolest piece of gear that you got from Brooks?
I think my favorite piece is the jersey, just because like that's like, it holds so much memories from that race. But I think the other one would probably be the watch. Like, we got a watch from Koros, and that's been like my go-to watch now, so I always use that. And then the jackets definitely, I still wear those all the time because we have to train in the morning here in Arizona because it gets so hot in the afternoon. So we have to train at 5 in the morning every single day we have a workout, and those jackets always come in clutch.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I live in Minnesota, so it's the opposite. We have to work at like you do it at like 3 p.m. in the dome because it's so cold out.
Yeah, nah.
But
Yeah, we have to train at 5:15 is when we start. Uh and it kind of just sucks because like that's the only time it gets cold. And then like you have school right as soon as you end. Like right as soon as you
yeah,
end your workout, you gotta go shower, then go straight to school. And then easy runs, we run those after school because I mean, you don't really need the cold for that.
yeah. I mean, you do are running. You do get to go to school and be done for the day. So it's one
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, it
Yeah, I
definitely
think
sucks
there's
having to wake up at 4 a.m. It's definitely a
yeah.
trade-off. Cool. So finally, like when it comes to Brooks and the overall message of, having fun over results, it's like, how do you personally, as a runner, kind of prioritize fun, and how would you advise people who struggle, comparing themselves to other people's times, other people's stuff in your career?
Yeah, I think that like what I would say is don't focus on anyone else, you know what I mean? Because I definitely used to do that. Like even as a freshman, like I was like looking at these seniors and being like, I feel like I'm training my heart out. Why am I not running the same times as them? And then it kind of made me like not enjoy the sport as much, you know what I mean? But I feel like as soon as I started, just only worrying about how my training is going, I think that's when I actually started to improve more because I was running more happy. I was running more to actually get better instead of trying to just like be like everyone else. But yeah, I think just everyone should just focus on themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to look up to people. Like everyone has their idol. But if you're just gonna like, look at every single person who's faster than you and like be upset because they're better than you, then that's not gonna help you get better. So I think that just, worrying about yourself and trusting the process and knowing God's plan is gonna all work out, that'll all benefit you in a good way.
So now going into like the greater, I guess, both Arizona and national community. First of all, let's talk about those flipping live streams, man. What is the funniest live stream moment, those Instagram lives that you had?
I'd say so I did a little Q&A on live and then I ended up getting like so Jackson Spencer joined and he ended up joining the live with me. So me and him were talking and then Braylon Combs ended up joining. She was in there and then like the Niwot girls team ended up joining
Oh
and then
no.
and then the Niwot boys team joined while they were on their way to like their prom or their winter
Oh
dance.
no.
And then like
That makes
Micah
sense.
Peters. Yeah, so like all these like really good people like that like I've kind of barely spoken to all just joined and we ended up having like an hour conversation. I think it was just really funny. Like we were just
Those
doing a
was
little Q&A and just having like the most random person who you're not expecting to join just, join up and then, just talking to everyone.
it's really funny too because it's like, it's like, doesn't happen in the sport. But also like it's very like I think it's very meaningful for the community for you guys to be like that accessible. Because when are you gonna have basketball teams like join opposing teams and have live streams? Like that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And I
If it
think
is a live stream, it's just, a bunch of smack talking and all that.
and it would seem very like I feel like you guys it's very unscripted, very unserious, which I think is very good.
Yeah.
Super fun. Um, like overall though, what do you think about like the running community as a whole in the state of Arizona?
I think that I think it's definitely I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, you know what I mean? Like I feel like everyone out here supports each other, especially since like, Arizona isn't like a running state, you know what I mean? Like if you asked anyone like what do you think the top running states are, nobody's gonna say Arizona, you know what I mean? But I feel like over these past few like years, people all over the state of Arizona have kind of been bringing it up together. Like, Johannes, like he's put Arizona on the national level, you know what I mean? I think the running community has gotten a lot closer. And, like I talk to people from, cities that are 2 hours away, 3 hours away. And I feel like the running community is kind of just like it's all just kind of one big community now. And I mean, it's great, honestly. Like everyone supports each other. Everyone shows out for each other. There's not really like heated rivalries out here. Like there's always people who go head to head, but at the end of the day, everyone out here is friends and it's great.
That's awesome. And how did that kind of work when with what happened with the 2 mile last year? How did the community kind of band together through all the chaos? I mean, people were protesting. Well, first of all, give us like a little bit of a summary of what happened last year or this
Yeah,
year.
so basically, before the meet started, we always have, I don't know if they do this in other states, but we have coach meetings. So the head coach from every single team will meet up and go over the rules and all that stuff. And one of the rules was if you're not in the tent before if you're not in the tent by the time everyone's walking to the field, then you're disqualified. So they made that very clear, and I guess some people didn't hear it, like didn't hear it from their coach. So when we were lined up, there was like 4 or 5 guys who weren't able to race. And then their teammates were like, if they're not racing, we're not racing. And luckily that didn't happen to any of my teammates. So, me and my guys stayed in the race. Basically what happened was we went 1 through 4, and then I don't know any names, but the officials told the disqualified runners like we're gonna let you guys run, but it won't affect the placements of the previous runners because we didn't run fast at all. Like we just jogged it, you know what I mean? We went like 9:22. So like it
Yeah,
was we didn't run hard at all. And so they the officials told the disqualified runners like we're gonna let you guys race, but it's not gonna affect the placement. So if you guys beat like if someone beats my time, they're not gonna, win state. Like it's still my
yeah.
and I heard that and I told the officials, I was like, okay, like if it is gonna affect the placements, then I'm gonna race again. But they told us that it wouldn't affect it, so I didn't. And
Okay.
then we just never got our medals. And then the next morning I woke up and I got second place. So yeah, it was kind of all just and it wasn't just us that happened that too. It happened to like 3 others teams. Like it happened to a 4x1 team and then a 4x4 team. So like that whole day was just chaos.
It's crazy.
But
So as a
yeah.
community, yeah, as a community, how do you band together in those chaotic moments and really use that as more of a positive thing rather than just a that sounds like a very divisive thing to happen. There's like it
Yeah.
sounds like you could be lots of drama that could happen. So how do you guys avoid that?
Yeah, I think we all kind of just stood up for each other, you know what I mean? Like the kid who beat my time, like he was there like standing up for me. He was standing up for everyone. And so I feel like everybody was kind of just like it was us against the world, you know what I mean? Like everyone was kind of just together, because we were like if this is going to happen at Division 1 state, imagine what'll happen at open state. Like so we all kind of just came together and just kind of tried to figure everything out. Um, I don't even know what the result was. I don't know if like any rules changed, but I just remember there being like a bunch of parents, a bunch of kids from other teams, a bunch of even kids who didn't even race. Like they were all just kind of together, just, protesting about it and just fighting for, what's right.
So yeah, with people like across, like say you meet obviously Micah or some other guy like from across the country, how do you guys maintain those relationships despite not seeing each other?
Obviously we all follow each other. So I mean, just like, congratulating each other after a race or just, like just asking a small question or even like seeing each other at like an out of state race and like just, catching up for a little bit. Definitely, keeps everyone in touch. And I feel like, like I'm gonna know all these people in college, you know what I mean? Like I'm definitely gonna be racing some of them. Like some of them are in my conference, so I'm definitely gonna be seeing them like every other week and at nationals I'll be seeing them. So yeah, I feel like yeah, I think that everyone will, still be in touch, years from now.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It's been fun being a guy who makes content and being able to join in into some of that too. And
Yeah,
you know, enjoy all my friends that I made along the way. And I think it's just super fun that you guys are able to maintain those relationships,
yeah,
even
definitely.
going into college. Um, thinking about that group of people, who is someone from that pool, like, or really just anybody that you've ran with ever that's really helped you and stuck with you through a really tough moment so far in your running career?
I would say probably Simon Martin. We don't like really talk like that, but I feel like at races, I feel like I've said this before, because me and him have been going at it since sophomore year, you know what I mean? And I've always heard people ask me questions like they think that me and him are like these like rivals who like hate each other and like one of us has to go down. But I feel like when we race, instead of like kind of trying to like beat each other, we're kind of like pushing each other like throughout the race. Because I know if I push him, that's gonna push me. You know what I mean? And if he makes sure to push me, I'm gonna push him. So, like even at Brooks Regionals, I remember we were coming down the last hill and we turned left onto the road. And he kind of just told me, he was like, yo, come on, like Arizona can do this, like let's go. And
That's
so
cool.
yeah, so like when I saw him open his mouth, I was kind of like thinking he was gonna like say something to me like, oh, I'm about to beat you. But he told me he was like, hey man, like Arizona, let's go 1-2. Like we can definitely do this. Like, let's go to nationals. And then after the race, we were just insanely excited because there's never been, this much guys from Arizona go to nationals in I think ever, maybe. I don't know. But yeah.
Before we get to the last three, here's one that I was just thinking about, like just throughout the process. But what are some of the sacrifices that you've had to make in the sport of running to pursue that higher level of competition?
Um, I think definitely like who I surround myself with. You know what I mean? Because I definitely see a change. Like my freshman year, I wasn't around the best people and I wasn't the best person, you know what I mean? And then I transferred over to a school where it's a very athletic school and everyone here cares about their sport. And that kind of like, made me into who I am today. So, one of the things that I've sacrificed was, friends, you know what I mean? Like who's going to be here, in 20 years when I'm running still, who's going to still be encouraging me. So I've sacrificed, people. I've also sacrificed like just other things. So like I said, I had to stop playing basketball because I wasn't getting any recovery time for running. And I mean, basketball was a sport that I was in love with, so I had to sacrifice that. And then definitely a lot of like foods and drinks and stuff like that. I've had to sadly sacrifice.
Yeah, I can really empathize with the part that you mentioned about people because I felt like as my content like career started getting bigger and my goals started to, you know, I've kind of had to really think about like you almost have to sacrifice like approval from others in a
Yeah,
way, which is kind of sounds, you know, contradictory if you're running because it's like, oh, you're running because people see you running. It's like, oh, why would you want to forsake that? But it's like if you look at it, you almost look at the relationships that you have, and some of them are really fun and you do fun things, but if they aren't growing you, then it's like you kind of have to make that painful choice to focus on the ones that are actually growing you as a person. Have you experienced that too?
yeah, definitely. Like I like before I made like any changes of who I was with, like they didn't really understand like what running was to me. So like I would be getting like a call at like 12 at night, on a Saturday when I have a long run in like 8 hours, asking to hang out. And, now the people that I surround myself with, also have that, same run as me, or they understand that like I'm trying to go pro in the sport. So they know not to like, they know I'm in bed by a certain time, you know what I mean? So I think like, yeah, I kind of just surrounded myself around like people who want to watch me win instead of people who like don't really care how running goes for me and just want like my time.
Yeah. So it's kind of like I feel like it's a balancing act too, because it's like running means so much to you, and like what I do means so much to me, and we need people that will both push us to achieve what we want to achieve and to drive us. But is there also
Yeah.
a sense of like you need also people to hold you back and make sure that you don't care so much where you're letting it, take over your identity and your the way you see yourself? Is that something too that you've had to deal with?
I wouldn't say that, but I would say more like people who like don't let running upset me the way it used to. So like
Yeah, yeah,
I
that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely have people who like, see I have a bad race and they make sure that I'm okay after. You know what I mean? Instead of like I tell my friends, back then, freshman year, I tell my friends like, oh, I had such a terrible race. And then they like don't really care. They're just kind of like, "Oh, okay, what do you want to do later?"
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Awesome. All right. So typically I'll ask 4 questions at the end of every episode. So first one is, how do you take care of your mental health outside of running?
Um, I'd say mental health is like a very big thing that I'd say a lot of runners deal with because running is such a stressful like sport. So like if you have like a bad race, you know what I mean, you could be sad for like the rest of the month just because of that one race. But I think like the way I've kind of dealt with running or with mental health is looking at like the good things that I also have in life. So like instead of like being like so depressed and so sad because my training hasn't been going that good, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, at least I'm able to run. Like at least I'm able to train. There's kids out here who don't even have a track to run on. There's kids who don't get to go buy these $300 shoes that I'm wearing right now. There's kids who can't afford a watch and they have to use, their phone and their clock app to get their splits. You know what I mean? So I think just like looking at like the positive things and just looking at like what I actually have in life definitely like keeps me happy.
Yeah, gratefulness is such a thing that people need to learn early in their career.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about like just knowing how blessed that you are, both running and out. Like in the opportunities that you have, just not some that people everyone has. So it's like awesome that you can notice that.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. What's your why? And yeah, say it again. Say it again. What's your why and how does that motivate you to run on the hard days you don't want to train?
Proving everyone wrong. You know what I mean? Like when I first started running, everyone kind of thought I was just like this, this this kid, just this random kid from Chandler High, Arizona, you know what I mean? But I feel like I've always kind of just been someone who like you said earlier, like I don't take stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I've always kind of just wanted to prove people wrong and like show that like I can do what I do. Like I show my strengths and everything. And I feel like my why has changed over the years. And instead of just doing it for me, I'm definitely doing it for other people now. Like being an inspiration to others. Like I get text messages sometimes asking for advice or like all this. And so I'm like dang, like I've came so far that like other people are like looking up to me and I'm doing this for them now. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you feel like your motivation, this is a follow-up, do you feel like your motivation has kind of increased the more you change your like what's it called? Your mindset to be more people focused over self-focused?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm very like selfless now. Like
Yeah.
instead of just like, going out there and running for myself, I'm going out there and inspiring others who, want to be at the level that I've reached. And yeah, definitely just being an inspiration has been awesome.
What are some of the best conversations you've had, another thought, to people like with younger people, with kids, with people who want to start running? What are some of the best conversations you've had? that have inspired them?
Um, I think, like, when people ask me for advice, like, they're asking the same questions you just asked me, what do I need to sacrifice? What tips do you have to, like, become a good runner? Like, um, how much, like, miles should I be running? Like, all that type of, like, little questions. I love getting asked those because, like, it makes me feel like it makes me feel like I'm just, like, this, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, I'm like the like, imagine, like, a old head coach with, like, all this knowledge. That's kinda how I feel
Yeah, I
like,
know what you mean. I know what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
whenever people ask me questions, yeah. But, yeah, I always love those conversations, like, when people just ask me, like, "What should I do? How do I do this?" The other question I always love is, like, "How did I get into running?" Just, what running is to me, just all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's incredible. Third of four, I think we're up to six, but what advice would you give to runners that just start out in the sport?
Um, I would say definitely be prepared for the challenges that come along with it. Because, like we said, like we talked about earlier, like the sacrifices, like every runner is gonna have to make sacrifices in their life if they want to get to a level of running in college, and especially, a level of running in pro. So I think definitely like preparing yourself for those sacrifices you have to make and preparing yourself for like, waking up early in the morning to run and all that stuff. And just making sure to like stay on top of everything and don't let like injuries get up on you, like creep up on you and stuff like that. And get mad over, you know, little races that don't really matter that much and just stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. And finally, what legacy do you want to leave on both the Arizona community and the national running community?
I think the national running community, I would definitely want to be someone who's like known, you know what I mean? Like I want to be talked about, from, kids in different states. Like I want them to know who I am. Which I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job at that. When it comes to Arizona, I definitely want to be one of the greatest runners that ever, came out of Arizona. And I want to be like someone who like, when a kid says like, I want to run as fast as this kid did, or you know what I mean? Like in a couple years when they're talking about like old runners, I want to be brought up in that conversation and just stuff like I just want kind of want to be an inspiration to not only the kids that are in high school right now, but like those sixth and seventh graders that are going to be in high school in a couple of years. Like I want to be an inspiration to them too when they, know who I am and stuff like that.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Dude, Zarian's such a good guy. It just kind of makes things happen. And I think we saw that a lot during this episode. I loved how he didn't take his identity from the results when he when they got second in state as a team. Hamilton did 2023. But I do like how, like I said, he just makes things happen. Like at the time, a full renewal of how the team was ran was needed. And I loved how the team approached practice and just renewed their idea and just set their sights on what they wanted. And they eventually got it in 2024 because of all their hard work. Second, I liked the camaraderie in the national running community, which I've talked about a lot, but it just seems like how, despite how everyone's so like competitive and they want to, be the best and win, it just is super cool how it's actually a really supportive community of people who just do that because they want the best out of each other. I love how him and Simon Martin, their goal wasn't to be the guy who beat the other guy. Their goal is to go 1-2 as a part of Arizona together. And that was super cool. Finally, I liked how in the end of it, towards the end, we talked about how sacrifice kind of precedes success, where Zarian had to let go of a lot of things to get to where he wanted to be, including something that I really um, thought about as kind of a pesky thing is approval from others. And he had to manage relationships that didn't serve him to allow for him to achieve the most that he could, which is a really hard thing to do, I feel like. And while now he might be out for a little bit because of injury, I still had 100% have full confidence that he will still push Hamilton and the Arizona community to great lengths and just be an inspiration to everybody in Arizona, even though he's not running for a little bit. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you can take away something from our time together. I encourage you all to share this episode with a friend who would learn something from this conversation. I'm Nate Unger, and this was Zarian Rodriguez, Under the Radar. Now, go be the best version of yourself.